Good evening and welcome. We report this tragic story. We've been doing that through the course of the day, where we got you information of a horrible crash in Tamil Nadu, of a chopper in which there was the Chief of Defence Staff, General Bipin Rawat, his wife and many others. Now the latest information that General Rawat, wife, are among the 13 people who have died. The lone survivor as of this moment is Group Captain Varun Singh. He's in a critical condition, being treated in a hospital in Wellington. The circumstances in which this crash has taken place is not known. It is being ascertained as of this moment. But a lot has been said through the course of the day by experts that this is in no way a commentary on the quality of this chopper. We'll come to these details in just a short moment, but obviously there is a sense of great grief in the country as we have lost 13 people, many extremely celebrated officers and men in uniform. Let's first begin by going across to Sam Daniel, my colleague who's been getting all the latest from Tamil Nadu. Sam, can you tell us the latest? When are the mortal remains going to be shifted to Delhi?
The exact time at the moment it's not clear, Sanket. It's going to be tomorrow morning. What we can confirm is tomorrow morning there would be a wreath laying program at the Madras Regimental Centre at the Wellington campus. At the moment, the Chief of Air Staff, the Tamil Nadu Governor, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister have been confirmed to participate and pay their respects there. The Defence Minister at the moment it's not confirmed, since he would be briefing the Parliament around the same time. So chances are he could pay his respects at the Coimbatore airport before the mortal remains will be flown to Delhi. And as we speak now, the lone survivor, Group Captain Varun Singh, is being treated at the hospital at the defence facility in Coonoor, and he is being treated for severe burn injuries. There is also a facility and a team of doctors ready at Coimbatore, just in case if the defence team decides to shift him. As we speak now, Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has reached Coonoor. He is holding discussions with the collector, the SP, the police officers, and also with defence personnel, both in terms of understanding what happened and in terms of making arrangements for tomorrow's events. And the search for crucial evidence in terms of from the wreckage and from the area around would continue tomorrow as well, as the Air Force has ordered a probe in terms of what led to the crash. And of course all eyes would be on the condition of the lone survivor. And if everything goes well, by noon we understand the mortal remains could reach Coimbatore and then they could be flown to Delhi. But at the moment things are a little hazy. In a couple of hours from now we would have more clarity on that. Thank you.
Sam Daniel reporting from Tamil Nadu. Just a short while ago, we spoke to our colleague Arvind Gunasekaran, who got us all the latest on the Cabinet Committee on Security chaired by the Prime Minister, with all the other details.
What we are being told is that tomorrow the Defence Minister will make a statement in both the houses of the Parliament detailing this particular crash, that tragic event that happened in Coonoor with the Indian Air Force helicopter. So what we are also being told is that tomorrow morning the mortal remains will be taken from Coonoor to Coimbatore, post which those mortal remains will be flown to Delhi. So that's what we are getting to her. But before flying to Tamil Nadu to Coimbatore to take the mortal remains from Coimbatore to Delhi, the Defence Minister will be briefing the Parliament, because Parliament is in session, and as per the procedure, the Defence Minister has to brief the Parliament on this tragic incident. So tomorrow in the first half itself we can expect the Defence Minister to brief both the houses of the Parliament regarding this tragic incident, where we have lost almost 13 defence personnel, including the family member of CDS Bipin Rawat.
All right, let me introduce our guest this evening, Major General Sanjay Meston, defence analyst, also the former defence attaché in the Embassy of India, Kabul. Air Commodore Dr. Ashminder Singh Bahal, he was the Deputy Director General of the Air Force and a defense analyst. Lieutenant General Raj Kadyan, former Deputy Chief of Army Staff. Thank you very much to all of you. Major General Meston, let me begin with you first. A huge loss. We would like to talk about the legacy of General Bipin Rawat before we get into the crash itself. This is a huge loss to the country, and also the entire effort that was being made to get all the three forces synchronized.
Sanket, firstly, it's a very great tragic loss for the entire country and, of course, the Indian Armed Forces. And with heartfelt condolences to General Rawat, Mrs. Rawat, and all the other people, that is 11 people who have lost their lives, I only speak with a heavy heart. But now coming on to the legacy of General Rawat, Sanket, I would like to state that I have been associated with General Rawat, especially I've seen him as a general officer when I myself was the Major General Operation Logistics in Southern Command, and he was heading the Southern Army, which is based in Pune, the largest army command, in which also he had the overall in charge also of coordinating operations, executing operations along with the Indian Navy and the Air Force. This is the only theatre where the Navy, it's a tri-services operation. So having seen so closely of him, in a very short time, I made some opinions of mine, and thereafter with prolonged association, once he was the Army Chief also, I would just sum up in one word that he's a legendary general, and I think the Indian Army has produced some outstanding thinking general strategists, and I think I would rate as Field Marshal Manekshaw. He's really a legend, and I have carried out a lot of surveys amongst young officers, and he's rated as one of the finest field marshals or the generals of the Indian Army. Thereafter, another legend was General Sundarji, because I remember Dr. Abdul Kalam, when he was a scientific advisor, he had written on the obituary of General Sundarji, who happened to command my own battalion, that is 1st Mahar, of course, that is way back in 1965. And the wordings of the President Abdul Kalam, that time, of course, he was not the president, it was the nation has lost a thinking general. And General Sundarji was very much admired by all the army ranks. And thereafter, now I think in the lineup we have General Rawat. And again, I would like to sum up by stating that he was a great thinking general, analyst. I would say in Hindi, a Jinda Dil. He was a live wire. You know, he would inspire confidence amongst all ranks, always smiling. And in the last years of so many years of association since 2016, I saw so closely of him. And in fact, as the Major General Operation Logistics, I had dealing with him as PSO, practically maybe every day, so many times in his office. And you know, good thing I liked about this general was, you know, you go to him, in precisely 2 minutes you convey your viewpoint, and he would say, okay, understood, go ahead. That's it. Otherwise, I've seen majority of the senior officers, they said, okay, you know, give a presentation, and then they get so many others, then we have a lot of briefing, decision not given, and
basically
so forth.
Others were procrastinate.
Yeah, his
procrastinate. That was not his
grasping
style.
And giving quick decision was very, and then he had faith in subordinates. You know, certain times generals, they start going into minutest details. He was aware about the details, but he would just say, yeah, just come up to the major issues. I would say in the army, we call them major SD issues, and I would say, and he would say, okay, done. Just execute it, pass the orders. And this is how, you know, the bonding you develop. And therefore, I was so much fortunate to have worked so closely with him, and really, I can
understand. I can understand this is a huge loss. Major General, I'm going to come back to you. Air Commodore Bahal, you see, first of all, your comments, if you would like to share with us, and then I want to ask you a question on this chopper itself. Of course, it's an accident. It's a freak accident. Many people have taken choppers to Wellington. A little bit of a tricky terrain, but at the same time, it's not something that you cannot conquer. This very chopper has gone there many times. Would you like, in fact, Fali Homi Major, we spoke to him just a short while ago. He gave us a long explanation on how the only way we can ascertain what must have gone wrong is to wait for details, details related to the flight data record, the voice record, and then we'll be able to ascertain what happened, because otherwise it's not like this is extremely treacherous where no chopper has gone before.
First of all, I'll use your channel to express my deep sorrow at passing away of a very valiant soldier and a very fine general whom I had the opportunity to interact when I am still a visiting fellow at Center for Land and Warfare Studies, and we were releasing our book, and I had close association with him at that period of time, and I found him to be extremely intellectual, and as the previous speaker had mentioned, expert had mentioned, that he could grasp the essentials in no time. And as regards the Me-17, and also I would like to take the opportunity to offer condolences to the brigadier's family, to the colonel's family, as well as to the family of the valiant aircrew who were flying this aircraft, and to the commandos who were with the general at that period of time. Secondly, I would like to tell you about Me-17, which is a multi-utility helicopter, and Me-17 V5, which we acquired from 2012 in 80 numbers, is an extremely modern medium multi-utility helicopter. It can carry about 4 tons of load, 24 personnel. It can carry guns, rockets, as well as it can be strapped with the air-to-ground missiles. And it has got a semi-armor around it, as well as it has self-sealing fuel tanks. So in addition to that, it has modern avionics, it has navigation systems, weather radar, and the flight data recorder, as you were mentioning, and normally in colloquial terms, we call it as a black box. It would provide us with vital clues, as well as if the group captain is able to revive, which I greatly hope so and wish for fervently. He would also be able to provide us with inputs as to what has actually happened. Air Force was very prompt. Indian Air Force is the 4th largest air force in the world, the most professional air force in the world, and we have excelled ourselves in any area of domain. And I know that the team that they're going to form will have multi-specialists, multi-domain specialists who will be able to easily root down to the issue as to whether it was a problem with the equipment, whether it was a problem, a technical failure, whether it was human error, whether it was weather-related, visibility, or whether it was high-tension wires, or whether it was controlled flight into terrain, or whether it was sabotage or any other reason. Now, the inquiry team has already been formed, and the inquiry is going to start very soon. Okay. And it will be assembled at the site itself and probably at Sulur Air Force Station by tomorrow. And last thing that I would like to say on this, that it is a very, very safe aircraft. It has been flying VVIPs. It has been operating in Ladakh. It has been operating in Nagaland. It has been operating in Arunachal Pradesh, in all heights. And this height was just 6,000 to 7,000 feet, if I'm not mistaken. And it was just a few kilometers, maybe 10 kilometers from the road, and it was about to go into descent. So there would have to be other circumstances and other reasons as to what has happened, which I'm sure the photo inquiry would be able to narrow down and zero down.
And that is something which we are not going to second guess, because we will have to wait for a proper inquiry to know the reasons. Number of reasons over here, but as of this moment cannot be seen as a comment on the safety of this chopper, which has been pressed into service on a number of occasions in far more difficult conditions than Wellington.
Absolutely.
Major General Kadyan, I want to come to you now. You know, this question that I asked of Major General Meston, I want to ask you as well. The first CDS of this country, this position came into being to get better coordination between the three forces. He had started work in that regard, had taken a lot of steps also. Do you feel that the roadmap which has been prepared by General Rawat is his biggest contribution in synchronizing the three forces so that they can work together?
Sanket, today is a tragic day for the country. The army has lost an outstanding general, and the nation has lost a shining star who held the country's defense responsibility at a very difficult time when we are facing threat from multiple directions, including terrorism. Now we have a question. General Rawat was the first CDS. The concept was first recommended by Subramaniam Committee during the Kargil War or after the Kargil War. But three services were not able to come on the same page because of the fear by the smaller services, or smaller at least numerically, that they may be overwhelmed by the army, which is the largest number. But it goes to the credit of General Rawat that he was able to get the three service chiefs together and come on the same page, and the appointment of CDS, which had been long awaited, came into being. He being the first, it is not easy to start a new thing. The relationship with the ministry, the relationship with the three services have to be started de novo, and certain procedures and systems had to be laid down. Successors will find it relatively easier to carry on the work done by General Rawat. General Rawat's contribution doesn't only finish there. He also was a forward-looking man. You know, there is a famous saying in the army that armies fight the last war. But he was one who was able to rise above the baggage of yesterday and was able to think of tomorrow. So, modernization, Atmanirbharta, and the synergy, plus the revolutionary change which had been talked about earlier, that is theaterization. Realizing that India is too vast, too diverse in our terrain, we have a very long 15,000 kilometers coastline, 7,500, 15,000 land borders, that a centralized decision-making authority sitting in Delhi may not be able to take decisions fast enough in today's speed of the battle. Therefore, certain resources must be dedicated to a commander on the spot, and that is where the basic concept of theatre command is to decentralize the resources and decision-making. So I think that is a great contribution. It is historical. The value will be judged maybe in the next war. There can always be two views. There are people who also criticize, but then a tall tree always attracts more wind. That will always happen. But I personally think, although I never served with him, we had almost 16 years of difference in seniority and age, but I interacted with him as leading the one rank, one pension movement when he was vice chief, then when he was chief, and also CDS. I think I found him very receptive to ideas, very reasonable, and a very good listener. So I think one has lost a very good friend. The country has lost, as I said, a shining
Major General
star.
Katyan, this one point that you made about, we will only know whether this synergy that he initiated only in the times of war. Whatever the criticism may be, but here the thing is, Major General Meston, that if you've got an army has to be ready to fight a battle, and obviously when you are battle ready or battle hardened, you're not, asking for or this to be seen as some form of warmongering. But the point over here is to make sure that your forces are synergized was a topmost priority of the Chief of Defence Staff, General Bipin Rawat, and also the fact that this recommendation was finally accepted after a very long time. He did justice to his position, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely, Sanket. I think bringing about synergy within the three services is not an easy thing, which even General Kadia pointed out. And see, the purpose of having the National Defence Academy was that all the three services, people who are opting for the respective services, we start interacting there. But in the later part of the army life, one realizes, that most of us only have loyalties to our own respective services, and rightfully so. But thereafter, when we graduate to senior appointments, I think sometimes the personal interest overrides, or the service interest overrides the tri-services interest. And here was a general, I think, who had this vision very clearly, and therefore now to bring this synergy is definitely a task for which I think personality of the general matters. Now his personality is very open, very clear-hearted. He would accept viewpoints of everyone, and keep hearing. You know, hearing is a very, very great quality for any senior leader. So he would give a patient hearing, and the kind of personality, you know, I would say very accommodative kind of a person. So obviously these synergy starts happening. And this synergy happens for all of us in life. As leaders, we have to synergize all the people under us. Either you divide the people and, you know, have differences amongst the people, or you unite them. So uniting people is again an art, and not many leaders have this kind of an art. And I saw General Rawat had this extremely unusual art, you know, very unusually.
Now, the task is going to be cut out for who is going to be the next Chief of Defence Staff. Of course,
Yes.
he was the first this country ever saw. But who is
Yeah.
going to be the next Chief of Staff who will continue in the legacy of synergizing the three forces? Air
Yeah.
Commodore Bahal, your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely important, because when we talk of multi-domain operations, we find that if the synergy between the three services is lacking, and especially if our area of operations is slightly further from the mainland, or when we become specific to multi-country operations in terms of tackling both China and Pakistan together, the synergy between the three services as well as the other elements of the armed forces would be extremely important. Now, this was very well understood by the general, and that is the reason why that he had gone about with his theater command concept, as well as the formation of Air Defense Command and other such integration measures. In addition to that, the synergy that it provided with his intellectual capitalism is a thing that we cannot measure in terms of quantity. And another issue that we come up is the choosing of the CDS now, because I think the CDS could be determined from any of the services who meets the QRs of being able to provide that intellectual capitalism and being able to bring the three services together towards a common purpose, and whilst deciding on the equipment and weapon systems that are needed for modernization, because every service has its own capabilities, every service has its own sensitivities, every service has its own parochial interest, and at the same time, the interest of India comes first,
there is a
always
common
and every
cause.
time.
True.
There is a common cause and there is a common threat, and the person who's able to understand the common threat and able to integrate and weave together
best
these
suited
services
for that
together
position.
is the
Correct.
best suited for that job. And I think that should be the criteria, not
Well
just
said.
the criteria of one service only giving the CDS.
Well said. Well, Major General Meston, Air Commodore Bahal, as well as Lieutenant General Kadyan, thank you very much for joining us as we mourn the loss of people in this terrible tragedy. And this is exactly why today it's not just General Bipin Rawat. You would like to mention the names of all those 13 who died in this horrible, horrible chopper crash. Here are the names of those who died in the crash. General Bipin Rawat, the Chief of Defence Staff, his wife, Mrs. Madhulika Rawat, Brigadier L.S. Liddar, Lieutenant Colonel H. Singh, Wing Commander P.S. Chauhan, Squadron Leader K. Singh, J.W.O. Das, J.W.O. Pradeep A., Havaldar Satpal, Naik Gurusevak Singh, Naik Jitender, Lance Naik Vivek, and Lance Naik S. Teja. Deepest condolences to all the family members.